We're going to spend, let's say, the next 20, 25 minutes talking about a technology that is well and truly changing lives. And it's based on a science that has been in study for certainly decades, but perhaps even hundreds of years, because there are all types of groups around the planet that have been aware of this particular science, specifically the electromagnetic field that our planet has and the healing benefits that can come from that. Now, what we're talking about today is going to be an amplified version of that because we're talking about a device that you're going to be able to bring into your home, a PEMF device or pulsed electromagnetic field device that can affect your body in some incredible ways. Most of you probably are aware now that everything on planet Earth has a frequency, and that includes us as beings, living beings, all the way down to our human cells. And by hitting that frequency, that vibration of a healthy human cell, we're able to bring all types of benefits, including circulation, including blood flow, improving sleep, detoxifying our body, fighting disease, and being able to do all of these things without drugs or chemicals. I think that's the key, because anytime we load our bodies up with drugs and chemicals, we know that maybe it's a one step forward, one step back type of a model. Now, in addition to PEMF, there's something called terahertz, and terahertz is a specific band or wavelength. This wavelength lives between microwaves and infrared waves and has some very unique and specialized benefits. And so we're going to talk about both of these things leading off our call. Let's focus on PEMF first. Now, one of the things that has been fascinating, I know for many of you, when it comes to the study of the human body and when we are activating healthy human cells, when we're improving blood flow and circulation, which brings its own significant benefits, including a reduction of pain, a reduction of swelling and inflammation. Well, there's also weight loss / weight management benefits that can come from this technology. It's amazing what happens when your body starts operating the way it was meant to operate. Secondly, the idea of being able to regenerate healthy cells and even repair damaged cells. Many of us thought for a long time that when cells were damaged, they needed to be flushed from the body. Well, we're learning now that PEMF technology, along with terahertz waves, can actually repair damaged human cells, which is critically important, especially when we start to learn a little bit about apoptosis. That's, of course, the body's system that flushes damaged cells. When that gets interrupted because we're living in a more polluted world than we were 100 or 200 years ago, the idea of being able to heal these cells when flushing isn't always working at optimum levels is a beautiful thing. Now, of course, you string enough cells together, billions of them, and you start having organs. Of course, our body is absolutely full of them. And the idea of being able to treat organs, best organ health, without using invasive procedures, very much based on Chinese traditional medicine, is again one of the significant benefits that waves, terahertz waves, and PEMF can bring to the table. Now, for those of you who are already health focused, you're already, for example, supplementing your diet, or perhaps you're eating plenty of greens and fruits, perhaps you are making sure you buy organic, perhaps you're even supplementing with additional antioxidants and chelated minerals, you'll be very happy to learn that PEMF technology also assists in the bioavailability of your body. One of the things that can happen in a diseased body or an unhealthy body is cell membranes can be difficult to transfer through. So those micronutrients that we're spending good money on after tax dollars purchasing, well, if we can have cell membranes that are easier to permeate, that means that that money you're spending is actually getting where it needs to go, and you're seeing more value for the money that you're spending on your diet. Now, many of you are very aware, of course, that millions and millions and millions of people around the planet also had the shot. Dun, dun, dun. That's the COVID shot, of course. And we're starting to, I think, as communities become more conscious of the fact that there are individuals that are suffering from long COVID. These are detrimental effects that have come from the vaccines. And so PEMF is also showing some wonderful benefits for those that are suffering from long COVID symptoms. And last but certainly not least, bringing some more quality and peace to your life, being able to reduce your stress, being able to improve your cognitive health. I know that many of you are using PEMF and terahertz waves to help put you at ease, put you at rest evening and get you prepared for a nice deep sleep that's going to assist you in healing all of the stresses and challenges that you faced in the day. Oh, we're going to shift gears and focus on terahertz benefits. And as we said before, you remember this is part of that electromagnetic field. It's just a very specific wavelength. And this information is actually pulled from a site called pubmed.gov. Now, if you're not familiar with this, this is a publicly accessible search engine. So it's a search engine and a database, a very large database that was developed by the National Library of Medicine. So anytime you want to do any research, it's a wonderful starting place, anything to do with medicine. So first benefit for terahertz we'll discuss very quickly is neuropathy. This idea of being able to manage pain by improving circulation in the body, by reducing inflammation, and being able to do so in a non-drug environment. So we're certainly not encouraging anyone to stop using any medication, not by any stretch. In fact, we're not making any medical claims on this call whatsoever. What we're saying is that if there are ways that you can improve your quality of health, reduce your pain load, especially chronic pain, and do it without having to continue to medicate or additional medication, what a beautiful thing that would be. Also, the modulation of cell activity. So we've talked about frequencies, and we've talked about activating healthy human cells and some of the benefits that can come from that. The benefit list is extraordinary. Also, DNA damage and repair. We talked about this on the previous slide as well. The idea that we can actually repair damaged DNA rather than having the body flush those cells and just forego them is beautiful. And of course, this also can benefit very significantly when it comes to stem cells as part of the DNA. And you're probably mostly aware of some of the incredible benefits we're starting to hear about now when it comes to stem cells. There's also some fantastic studies that are happening right now when it comes to cancer treatment, some wonderful areas of study in this particular category. You may even have seen videos on YouTube where lasers or terahertz waves are used on a specific tumor or specific cancer cells, and you'll see a hypervibration and then ultimately a bursting of the membrane of that cell. And then, of course, white blood cells can rush in and do what they need to do. But this is especially effective. We're seeing skin cancer, some wonderful benefits when it comes to this technology. And then, of course, the list of additional benefits is, well, it's really as long as my arm, but here are just a few. The idea of unhealthy red blood cells, you hear sometimes about them sticking together and reducing blood flow and how harmful that can be, especially if you're someone who suffers from arteriosclerosis. So that's fatty deposits accumulating in your arteries, and you have red blood cells that are not flowing as effectively as they could. We know some of the horrible things that can come from that situation. So improving blood flow is a beautiful thing. Also, though, mental health benefits, reducing stress and anxiety, OCD, anything to do in the mental health space. Also, bone density, osteoporosis. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And that list really does go on and on and on. So let's talk a little bit more about osteoporosis and how it affects astronauts in space. Now, one of the things, of course, that we know is NASA is very much deeply entrenched in this type of study. And one of the reasons, of course, is they spend billions and billions of dollars in space exploration and the work they do in the International Space Station, etc. So they need to make sure that astronauts are in peak health before they go on any space mission. But one of the things they've been noticing for decades, this is not a recent development, this is something they've known for many, many decades now, is their astronauts come back to Earth in really rough shape, much rougher shape than they did when they left. What are the reasons for that? Well, there's no gravity in that environment. So you're certainly going to see things like bone degradation, osteoporosis, early set. You're going to see muscle atrophy. Why? Because you don't need to use all the same muscles in a non-gravity environment. You're also going to see a drop in blood circulation, and they're even seeing signs of mental illness, depression, etc. So in addition to air, water, food, nutrition that humans need, the scientists at NASA are learning that a geomagnetic field and energy is also critical in maintaining good health. In fact, when you go to PubMed, you may even come across some of the studies in regards to terahertz and PEMF that NASA is deeply involved in. In fact, if you've got a pen and paper in front of you, go ahead and make a note to yourself, NASA Terahertz PEMF. Use those as keywords when you go to PubMed, and you're going to see some amazing studies pop up. Here is a very large-scale PEMF device in a medical clinic. The purpose of the company that we're here to discuss today is to be able to bring this technology at a much less costly price, very affordable, and much, much smaller. Bring it into your own home for your own personal use anytime that you want to. No need to book appointments at clinics. Whenever you're there, it's ready for you for a home treatment. So let's start talking about this gear. Now, the first thing we're going to discuss is their flagship product, something called the Tera P90. This device actually has both PEMF and terahertz technology built into it. So everything we've talked about, all of those amazing benefits from both of these sciences, both of those benefit lists can be applicable to the device you're looking at right now. So the idea of having a portable pain relief and recovery device is actually true, reducing tension and inflammation, improving your quality of sleep. In fact, one of the things that you may notice when you listen to testimonials about the OlyLife equipment is improved sleep. And many of the members talk about dreaming, remembering their dreams where that's something they weren't doing before. Now, that's very telling, because what they're really saying is they were not spending a lot of time in REM4 sleep, in the deep stage of sleep, which is really where the best healing happens during your sleep phases or sleep cycles. And the fact that they're spending more time there, they're dreaming more there, they're recalling those dreams because they're spending a longer period of time during the night in that stage of sleep. That's a really impactful thing, and it's very powerful. Also boosting circulation. There's so much that can come from that, including a reduction of pain, including a reduction of inflammation, and then supporting cellular repair, where previously we thought that wasn't happening. Your body was just eliminating disease cells. Now we know repair is actually taking place as well. Wonderful. Now the P90 Plus contains all of the same benefits that the P90 does, because again, it's PEMF and terahertz technology. One of the things about this grounding phenomenon, and that's exactly what it is. It's a phenomenon now. There are grounding sheets and grounding mattresses and grounding devices everywhere online. Well, and that's absolutely wonderful technology. But what we're bringing to the table here now is very much an amplified version of that technology, where you're introducing terahertz as well as the PEMF. Now, when it comes to the additional benefits over and above the P90, you're also going to see two handheld devices in that photograph. And one of those handheld devices has 650 nanometers of red light. Red light therapy is incredibly beneficial. And if you're unfamiliar, if this is news to you, when you're doing your research on PubMed, go ahead and take a look at or type in red light therapy and see some of the amazing studies that pop up there. So these two handheld devices, the second one, by the way, is a Terahertz One, a massaging device. So it gives you all types of opportunity for very localized treatments as well. Anyone with any skin conditions, skin and scalp, psoriasis, eczema, etc., you'll find some wonderful use from both of those devices. Good for stimulating collagen, improving skin elasticity. Think of it like having a spa device in your own home, reducing inflammation. But also, you're probably never going to get it out of your teenager's bathroom if you have one, because the acne benefits are alarming. Reducing signs of skin aging. Also, if you are familiar with very expensive spa treatments, EMS or electronic muscle stimulation, and also radio frequency stimulation for improving your quality of skin elasticity, etc. So it's a long, long list of benefits and opportunities to treat with this P90 Plus. Now, we're going to shift gears. I've got 5 more products I want to talk about with you. We're going to rip through them very quickly. One of them is an air ionizer. And if you're unfamiliar with this concept of ionization, I'll tell you, some of the benefits are staggering. Now, first of all, if you have ever been outside and there's a large storm brewing and the dark clouds are rolling in and the wind is picking up and the rain hasn't happened yet, but you can hear the thunder, the lightning isn't far behind. Well, one of the things that you'll also notice is there's this fresh smell in the air that rushes all around you before the rain starts. That's actually the atmosphere bringing ions pre-lightning strike that you're starting to smell. And it's a wonderful fresh smell. Well, you can have exactly the same benefit now in your home to the tune of 200 million negative ions per centimeter cube. So in other words, a lot of ions starting to fill up the common areas of your home with this A9 air ionizer. So one of the things that this can also do, much in the way that antioxidants have extra electrons in orbit that they freely give up to toxins or free radicals in your body to neutralize them, well, so do these negative ions. And in fact, they can assist your body in strengthening your immune system and neutralizing that toxic load. It's important to note that every environment that we live in, every man-made environment we live in, surrounded by plastics and dyes and all types of synthetic materials, often they leach out all sorts of harmful, what's the best way of putting it, gases. And so anything that we can do to counter that, to make our home a healthier and more delightful place to be, is certainly going to be welcome. And this air ionizer is going to play a big role in assisting you in having health from your home, reducing stress, improving your quality of sleep, and of course, enhancing mental clarity as well. So this is a wonderful product, very, very inexpensive product. And I know that many of you are just in the process of receiving one of these right now. Now, the Galaxy G1, again, is an industry first. It's a first when it comes to a very low frequency PEMF device that's okay to use around your eyes. In fact, it is a world's first low frequency eye care device. One of the great things about this is all different types of aging around your eye, macular degeneration in many different forms, is going to be improved. There's heat that comes from this device. There's also massage. There's improved blood circulation that are all part of built-in features of this particular device. And you'll also notice in the front of it, it is perforated so that you can actually do day-to-day activities. I wouldn't say you should drive with these on, but you could read a book, you can be on your phone, you can watch television, you can be doing chores around the house and be benefiting from the treatment. Now, I just want to draw your attention to one thing that should make it very apparent to you why this type of a device is needed and why this is exploding in popularity right now. First of all, it is the only one of its kind. And so consider just for a moment how much time that the average person, maybe not you, but the average person spends on their phone each day. Believe it or not, the number now globally is 6 hours. And if you think about it, smartphones are everywhere. There's many developing countries that don't have, or developed countries, or third world countries that do not have mass computer access, but they certainly have smartphone access. And the problem with smartphones these days, have a look next time you're walking around and seeing people on their phones. Many of them have those phones 12 inches, 18 inches, 24 inches away from their face. And by moving these devices so close to their face, they're actually putting a strain on many of the muscles around their eyeballs. They're forcing their eyes to focus at a distance much closer than is normal. And as a result, they're creating conditions like myopia. In fact, if you take a look at the last sentence in this bullet point, it's more than that. 80% of children in Singapore currently have this particular condition. Now, this was not the case 20 years ago. This is an alarming number that's shooting up not only in Singapore, but all over the world. And so this particular tool is one of the things that we can use to assist that. This particular product, equally impressive, very, very exciting. It brings incredible benefits to the body just in a very different way. And what it's doing is it's flooding your body full of hydrogenated water. Now, what exactly is hydrogenated water? Well, the idea of driving hydrogen into the water is certainly nothing new. But again, this is also becoming a global phenomenon. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and type hydrogen water bottle in whatever web browser you use in whatever country you live in, and you will be shocked at how many of these products fly up all over your screen. The next thing I want you to do, though, is type in MRET. Molecular Resonance Effect Technology. Remember, I told you before to type in NASA and PEMF, or NASA and Terahertz. Well, there is studies that NASA is doing right now in molecular resonance effect technology that will blow you away. So go ahead and read for those things from a scientific website on your own, but you will be shocked to see some of the things that are happening with the MRET and some of the health benefits that it brings. Now, what's interesting is when you do your Google search for hydrogen water bottles, you will find that none of them, maybe if you're lucky, one of them, has MRET technology. It's a game-changing technology. And what it's doing is dramatically improving these water molecules to be able to circulate into your body and actually be absorbed by healthy human cells to fight sort of dehydration the most effective way possible. But again, this also has anti-aging benefits, bringing antioxidants through the water into your body to help neutralize the overload that most of us suffer from, which is too many free radicals, too many toxins in our bodies. And the last thing for us to discuss is a very high-powered Terahertz wand, Terahertz Vitality wand. Now, this particular device works in a very specific terahertz wavelength, and so this can absolutely be purchased and used by individuals who already have the P90 Plus because it brings its own unique benefits. And one of those benefits is this light of life technology that can activate healthy human cells and works very hard to repair damaged cells, but it does so deeper in your body. So because of the design of this particular product, these terahertz waves can penetrate deeper, 3 to 5 centimeters deeper into your body. Perhaps you've had a back injury from skiing or from work, or maybe you just twisted poorly, or you were hit by a car, or some horrible sports accident that happened to you when you were very young and you're suffering from some sort of disc pain that's become chronic. Or perhaps it's a knee repair that didn't go as well as it should have, or any type of accident that happens to us over the course of our lives. And when we're young, we don't realize how detrimentally it's going to affect us with chronic pain and discomfort as we get older. Well, this is a wonderful way to treat those types of conditions or any other health condition that's creating chronic pain for you that you may have. So this Vitality Wand includes its own stand that oscillates, which is wonderful in making sure that there's no discomfort in using this product. And the other great thing, of course, it means that you can use this product with ease anywhere you want. You've got a problem with a particular vertebrae in your back, no problem. You can sit on a bench, relax, watch TV, read the newspaper, hang out with the family, and still be giving yourself a treatment with this device. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this presentation and get back to the person that asked you to watch this video so they can make sure that all your OlyLife product questions are answered.